Welcome back, everybody, again to The Basement. Today, in studio, we have, from Philadelphia, Busy Bee.
What up?
What's going on? You just drove here from Philadelphia, yeah?
I did. I made the big trek.
All right. Yeah, that's a pretty long drive. What, 3.5 hours, I think?
Yeah, just about. If I'm driving really fast, I can make it in 3. Mm-hmm. But 3.5 hours is about what my average is lately. Yeah.
3.5 hours is not bad. I think I've made that drive in 3 hours and 10 minutes.
Not too shabby.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
I see you.
Once. But that was, I was actually driving the Porsche down there, so.
Well, dude,
Okay, well, that's right.
Fast cars.
I'm driving a Honda Odyssey, a minivan, so.
Let's be honest, driving the minivan has got to be empowering somewhat because you get to be like that almost like soccer mom, like just.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so cool when I'm driving my minivan, especially because, like, no cop is ever going to pull over a minivan.
Exactly.
Like, are you serious? I look like the least intimidating person ever when I'm driving this, like, tan Honda Odyssey, just, like, cruising along. And so I can just, like, you know, skirt around, like, whatever truck I want and not give a fuck and anything like that. And it's awesome. I'm so not intimidating, and I always drive way over the speed limit. Yeah.
Hell yeah. It's inconspicuous, but it still gets you from point A to point B fast as fuck. That's all you
Exactly.
need.
I think it just, like, automatically looks like I'm driving slower because it's so big. Like, there's got to be some science thing about that, I think.
Probably, yeah. But, I mean, either way, like, hey, minivan, car, whatever, getting from point A to point B is what really matters.
Exactly.
And today, I think what really matters is we are extremely excited to hear what kind of music you're about to play for us.
I'm excited to play.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just start with this, with a little bit more Q&A. Your music, your writing style, stuff like that. I know I usually wait until we play our first song to really kind of ask these questions, but what kind of started you on the path of writing the music that you write, and how long ago did that start? And what are the major memories that you have of like those defining moments in your style?
Sure. So my mom is a singer-songwriter, and I mean, probably like the first memories that I have of like even considering, you know, starting to be a singer-songwriter, playing with the guitar, writing my own music is being like, you know, 3 years old at one of her concerts, actually in Lamont, not too far from here.
Yeah.
She'd play in this like summer concert series in Lamont, and my sister and I would just like run around in the front while she was playing, and we just listened to her music. And you know, I knew all of her songs growing up, and that was really cool. But by the time I was 5, I had written my first song, and my family we still talk about this to this day. The song was actually written probably at this exact time because it was about Halloween. It was called Cereal in My Bowl, and it was about how I so desperately wanted my mom to serve me pumpkin seeds, like roasted pumpkin seeds, in a bowl for breakfast, like with a spoon. And I wrote this song like on my violin, and like it had words and it had a bridge and everything. Like it was a full complete song. And I think, you know, from there, like that was probably a very defining moment of like, okay, you know, even at 5 years old, like I was a writer. And you know, I didn't really pick up the guitar again, or like start picking up the guitar until I was probably about 13. I played bass before that, and then it was just like a very natural thing to me to realize like, okay, I, you know, find myself wanting to write songs all the time, and there's something really cool about being able to be at my own pace. Like, if I'm playing a song, I can stop it in the middle and do whatever I want and start it up again, and I don't have to worry about being in sync with anybody else and all of that. So, you know, while I don't have a really specific style of music that I write, I try to kind of go all over the place depending on where my mind's at. I think one thing that definitely carries through most of my songs is that I'm on my own beat.
Yeah, I mean, being a
that.
solo artist and doing, you know, solo acoustic, is it mainly solo acoustic or do you dive into other things?
When I'm live, it's solo acoustic, but if you listen to some of my recordings, especially the most recent stuff that I've created, I will almost always throw in other instruments. I I like playing like layering over my acoustic sound with other stuff. I like adding percussion. I mean, I think in a perfect world, I would have like at least 2 other people playing with me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, hey, that's totally a possibility, especially in this town. I know you just got here, back here.
Yeah.
You were in Philly for a while, and now that you're back, we're glad to have you back. First of all, we're glad to have
it's
you
cool.
here. Second of all, and third of all, I think that you have more than a good shot at getting into some sort of musical group while you're here, finding some other talent. I mean, hell, I would even start a project. That would be
Word.
really cool.
That'd be awesome.
Well, I'm super excited to hear your first song. So I think I'm going to ask you to play your first one right now because I am sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for this to happen.
All right.
So
well, here we go. This is one of my most recent songs, and it's called Mother Necessity. Please help undress me. I'm older than I was last year, but maybe not as wise. Help me lay the corners of this bedsheet on the floor just like a rug. Superhuman strength I wished for in that small fish tank, converting little organisms into energy. I wish that you could put me out. I wish that I could help myself. I wish a lot of things. I wish a lot of things. Undress me, I'm older than I was last year, but maybe not as wise. Help me lay the corners of this bedsheet on the floor just like a rug. Mother Necessity, you opened up your lungs to me, blew smoke out and invented me, or what I should become. Mother Necessity, I'm scared of what you think I'll be, of losing time capacity and doing something wrong. And doing something wrong. Doing something wrong. Doing something wrong. And doing something wrong. Please help undress me. I'm older than I was last year, but maybe not as wise. Help me lay the corners of this bedsheet on the floor just like a rug. Oh, please help undress me. I'm older than I was last year, but maybe not as wise. Help me lay the corners of this bedsheet on the floor just like a rug.
all right, wow, that's awesome. I love it.
Thanks.
It's so happy and like melodic and just like it's a great song. It's a song that I just want to listen to while I'm driving to Philadelphia, you know?
I actually, exclusively listen to that song on my drives. It's, just nonstop, on repeat. And I'd sing it along to it, blast it, windows rolled down.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you the kind of the hints that I was getting as you were performing that song. I know every song has a story behind it. And with that one, it's kind of like, I get this feeling of, hey, I'm an adult now. Like, I do my own stuff. I do what I want to do. And like, I'm not a kid anymore. And, kind of go through and tell me like what exactly when did you write that song? What was going through your mind when you were writing it? What was kind of happening in your life at that moment in time? Kind of walk us through this quick. I'm
Sure.
interested.
So I actually wrote this song the first day that I moved back to State College. And I was sitting like on my bed that like I had moved down to like my basement so that I wasn't living in like my childhood bedroom. And, I got the guitar out because I was like, all right, I need to do something familiar to me, right? And so I kind of, I started fiddling around, and I think like the biggest thing that I kept repeating in my head was like, this idea of like, I'm older, but like maybe I'm not wiser, and like that's okay. And one of those things that like this is a time in my life where I'm asking for help, right? I wanted to take a pause. I wanted to be in a different place, and I realized that I can't do it all by myself. So yeah, I think it is one of those. I think like one of the biggest parts of growing up and becoming an adult is realizing that you're not supposed to do everything alone.
Yeah, I mean that, and one of the biggest things about being an adult is realizing that you're gonna fuck up, and you should fuck up too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I just want to quickly apologize to everybody. We are here at the basement, and being in an actual basement, I do have roommates, and I can hear them upstairs watching something, and like they're like, I don't know, they're talking, playing a video game. I don't know. But anyways, if you hear that, I apologize. I'm not too worried about it. It's the vibe down
Makes
here.
it official, right?
Hell yeah.
It's like, it's part of the vibe.
It's like, no, we weren't kidding. We didn't just call it the basement. We're in an actual
Straight
basement.
up, I can confirm as this third-party individual that I am, in fact, in a basement right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get a quick shot of the fact that we are literally in a basement.
Oh my
right
God.
now.
Yes. Here's the evidence, ladies and gentlemen.
And just for the record, that is not my stuff. That is my landlord's stuff, and he refuses to clean out the basement down here. Like this.
Is that killing your
Well,
OCD?
and it's not even his stuff. It's like his parents' stuff or something
Oh,
that
man.
used to live in the house. Yeah, big mess. Not going to get into it. Anyways, yeah, so oh God, Busy Bee here at the basement, live studio session, and you're killing it so far with that first song.
Thanks.
And hearing the story behind that song was really cool too. But definitely making references towards growing up and everything. Now, in growing up, you used to live here in State College, moved to Philadelphia for a while. I know you did some college down there, and then started getting into the music scene, performing and stuff. And then you came back here. Can you go ahead and give us an insight or a look into the music scenes that you've been involved with? And like, what are the pros and cons of like being involved with so many music scenes, and like, which ones were your favorites? What are some of the coolest things that you've seen in all the music scenes that you've been a part of?
Sure. So, I guess, starting early high school, I started playing house shows at Penn State.
That's lucky, because I didn't even know house shows existed until this year. So.
Yeah, I was very lucky. That I was in bands, and we had the right contacts with the right people, and that was a really cool way to sort of be introduced to this like underground music scene at an early age. So that when I moved to the Philadelphia area, I knew that something like that had to exist somewhere else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing I did, straight up, like, moved into my dorm room, got on my laptop, and did a ton of research about the underground music scene in Philly, because I was like, I want to break into this. I want to figure out, how to get involved. And, it's really interesting, like, the scene in Philly compared to the scene in State College, it's like, totally different in a lot of ways, because since obviously Philly is a city, there are all these different like central points of like DIY music. So there are, there's like the South Philly scene, there's, the Temple University scene, there's
Drexel
sort of,
and all those
Drexel,
others. It's
right.
huge there.
There's
yeah.
the stuff that's going on in Center City, and then there's like, an individual booker can book you at a bar. So it's, there's like people show up to these venues like Kung Fu Necktie and Connie's Rick Rack and like all these places. And it's like, you'll show up as if it's a house show, you pay as if it's a house show, but it's actually at a real place. So it's sort of cool that like you get opportunities that you don't necessarily get here, because it's hard to play in the bars around here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. If you play covers, or if you don't play covers, you're not
right.
You're not
exactly.
playing.
But yeah, I think that there's like something that Philly definitely allows for is like a ton of chances to play original music in a lot of different spaces and guarantee that you'll get paid for it, which is just a result of a bigger place.
Yeah.
And I've also I've played a little bit in New York, just at like a music festival, and that was cool. But I think like for me, New York is too big. It's like too big for me to handle, but I like the idea of like a city where you can feel the community, or a town where you can feel the community of the artists, and like you get to know the people that are in charge really quickly, and that there's a certain culture attached to it. But the biggest thing is like I really love the underground art scene, because it's like people that are going to those shows, people that are paying, $5, $7, whatever, to see these musicians are going knowing that they're about to see some original music that like most people haven't heard before, and like they're going to support artists.
I think
That's
the other
so cool.
big thing too about like a big area like Philly would be, and New York especially, is like not only are the people that are there dedicated to local original music, but also and fellow artists as well. They're contributing to that, but also like it's still exclusive. It's still underground. It's still hush hush.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those things. I mean, like I said, I had to do a ton of research even to find the underground music scene in Philly. It's very well hidden.
All the Facebook groups are all like private and stuff like that, and they still have a lot of issues with getting shut down too. I'm sure.
Yeah, I think it depends on the area. I mean, especially like, I think like temple shows. I mean, even any of the university areas have something lucky in the sense that like there's so much noise going on everywhere that they're not going to be targeted as much.
Yeah.
Because like if you're around temple, like there's a party every apartment on the weekends, so like and people are blasting music with the bass all the way up, and all that kind of stuff. So you're not going to get busted as much there, but like in some of the other venues that is an issue. And then of course if you're playing a show at like an official venue, you have to be careful about people who are underage. You have to be careful about people bringing their own stuff in, like all that kind of stuff. There is a risk involved to it, but I think that the people that are running it are insanely professional, which
I'm sure they've had a lot of experience too,
a lot of experience. It's really cool. Like even though I'm like playing a show that's in a basement, I'm usually booked over a month in advance. I'm sent like an official email telling me like what the lineup is, when I'm supposed to play, like any other info about like the setup and everything like that. And then you show up and immediately like get whisked away. You're told what you need to do, where to go. Like obviously there's still punk time, but everything else runs professionally.
Gotta have punk time.
It's so important, I think, for the underground scene.
Well, I've got a question here from Chris. I'm
not sitting on the couch. Dude, okay, so this is what's going on. My cord to get over there.
Oh man.
Like
weird. If
No,
you
so
want,
I get you know what? Fuck it. I'll just come over here.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah, just
here,
like
wait, give me your cord and I'll bring it over this way.
No,
All right, yeah,
Here,
that works
done.
too. There we go.
well, I didn't want to
Blocking
walk
my
in front of the
face
camera.
for a
That was the reason.
How
That was
dare
the reason.
you.
Yo,
Oh, well.
no, this is so you're talking about New York and Philly and all these places. The thing that I keep like asking is like, so do you think that it's easy to sort of get lost in it all in a place as big as Philly and a place as big as New York? Like you feel like you're not getting
Lost
the
in
amount
the
of
sauce.
Yeah, you feel like you're not getting the amount of exposure that you would if you were in a smaller place like State College or something like that.
Yeah, I think that that's actually definitely a huge downside to like the bigger the scene gets. I mean, one thing about here is like, you play one house show in State College, everyone knows who you are. as opposed
the
to
scene
like
is so close knit.
right. It's so exactly. It's like even if somebody didn't go and see you at that show, like someone's gonna say something to somebody else, and the next thing you know, like you're known. But I think definitely. I mean, what has sort of happened to me in the Philly area, which is a blessing and a curse, is I pretty much play in one venue. And what's great about that is I always have a gig booked.
Yeah.
What's the downside to that is I'm only playing in one venue and there are dozens. So it's like, there's this really sort of niche crowd that knows who I am and follows my music, which is awesome. And like they'll come to my shows every time, but I definitely feel often like I'm missing out on, all these other, sections of the scene. Because like I said, it really is kind of split up. I can't remember the last time I played a show at Temple. Because like I'm pretty much in South Philly, like that's where I play. And so I think that definitely is like a downside to, the bigger it gets, the harder it is to sort of break out of whatever bubble you start in.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I think that, the Philly scene is something that I've always wanted to kind of wade my feet into and get to know a little bit. I just haven't really had a chance to go down there and do anything. So you really got to be in the know, especially with an underground DIY scene, unless you're actually playing like a big venue or something.
It's hard, yeah. I got really lucky, honestly. Like, I did a little bit of research and found one person who ran a small booking company in the Philly area who I happened to have had a mutual friend with. So
Nice.
I just messaged that person and said, hey, I know this person and you know this person. I just moved to the area. I'm looking for shows. And pretty much, like they said, hey, I'm running a house show this weekend. Stop by. And
Cool.
so I stopped by, and the rest is history. So,
Yeah.
That's sweet.
honestly, it's all about knowing the right person and meeting
sure
people.
is.
And, that's hard.
Well, we're hoping that this basement session will kind of give you some...
Yeah, that'd be cool.
definitely show people like, hey, check out what I did, and get the Philly scene in on what we're doing here.
Definitely, for sure.
Well, I am ready for the next song.
All right, I am too.
Hell yeah.
I'll disappear then.
Yeah, bye, Chris.
Into the shadows.
See ya. Go to your corner. Oh, yeah, walk in front of that camera. Do it
It's
up.
beautiful. So well done.
Oh, man. Yeah, we are so unprofessional. Oh, my God. Walking in front of cameras and whatnot.
I'm actually going to leave. I'm so outraged right now.
What if she actually did leave? Just got her, like,
Total
walked.
diva. Like, bye.
Oh, man. So
Deuces.
one of these days, we're going to have to compile, like, the best and worst moments of the basement at some point, like, down the road. Yeah. And, like... I'm hoping that never happens, but if it does, it would totally be on that.
Would it be on as the best moment or worst moment?
Probably the best moment. I would just be like, yes, this is great.
God bless.
Hey, all press is good press, right?
Very true.
Unless it's bad press, then I guess it's not good.
Yeah,
but-
and then it's definitely bad.
Yeah. Oh, well. Especially in music scenes. We'll get to that later.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll definitely get to that later.
Diving deeper.
Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm going to let you take this next song away.
All right, here we go. It's amazing how the green just melt the smooth as chocolate. I find I need to think so much more, but try to talk less. It's time to open up my chest because I think I locked it. I'm traversing planes as curious as Davy Crockett. There's a broken zipper that I left in my new backpack. When I tried to pack, it ripped apart and gave me whiplash. Had to recycle all the papers, even though they're trash, but all the bins are full. I'm not a patient person, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Tell me, is it worth it to you? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Tell me, is it worth it to you? I like to close my eyes and travel back to greener pastures, so packs of cigarettes don't even need to come with matches, cause the stars are all I need to catch the fire, to bring it to my lips while batting my lashes at the pretty dresses. Maybe in some time I'll find a way to get me there, by breathing deeply and tatting skin and changing hair, cause the feeling in my heart is one that's pretty bare. I'm naked from the inside out, I don't have underwear. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Tell me, is it worth it to you?
I wish I had more people down here to clap with me.
We say that every week.
You
I
could just
know.
insert a clap track, you know.
Honestly, like that's something that I've thought about before. Like, but
That's so sad though.
I
Then everyone will
know.
know.
Well, plus like it'd be great to have like people and put more chairs and stuff here so we could have like a whole bunch of people listening.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. Live sessions, you know. Like,
Studio audience.
Yeah. But you know,
you can always
unfortunately-
upgrade eventually, as long as your landlord gets all of
Yeah.
his shit out of
Well,
your
actually,
basement.
behind this blanket here is literally I would say like 6 feet of space. Well, I mean not that much, maybe like 3 feet of space, but there's space
That's
back
actually
there
a
for
very
chairs and
huge
stuff.
difference.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry. It's from like here
That's
to
like the
pole.
average toddler, you know, smaller.
Yeah. I mean, if you can see where that window is, like from the back of this chair back,
Yeah,
it's
okay,
all
I see
space.
that. Yeah, you could definitely, you know.
Fit some people.
Oh, I know, right? Put some people back there and
That'd be
like give them
cool.
like have a mic and be like, "Yo, ask questions." Like hand them the mic.
Yo,
That would be a good
yeah,
idea.
questions from the audience. I don't
Yeah,
care.
if we would literally go from like YouTube basement sessions to like full blown network television
Yeah.
setup.
Yeah, right?
Oh man.
Yeah, all you need, you need like the multiple angles. You need a laugh track. You know, one of those like
Yeah.
Get
That-
a light telling
wah,
people to
wah.
clap.
Yeah, that we'd have to have like sound effects and stuff too. Like I'd have a
Yeah.
little MIDI controller here and
Oh,
just like hit
God.
sound effects. Like
You need a really good
"Dur-dur-dur."
theme song too. That's all you need.
Yeah, true. Theme songs are everything. That and like we got vinyls that say the basement and hang them up on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
No, dude, this is what we need. Sure, if you're out there, sponsor us.
Yeah.
We're trying to get
Yeah.
we're trying to put banners. Or this is what I was thinking. I didn't tell you about it, but
Oh man.
banners around the edges with like sponsors. That'd be kind of cool.
Yo, that's how you get paid for shit, right there.
Pay us.
Yeah, pay us.
Just start,
Oh,
you know,
man.
like getting like Coca-Cola bottles and just being like, we love to drink Coke at the basement.
Hey, if anything, we've got a whole shitload of bottles back there. That,
Yo, except for,
Potentials.
you know, you've got Yinglings and they're Trump supporters, so like,
oh, are they?
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
I
had no
found that
idea.
out, and you know, it's actually really sad because I think Yingling is like the perfect middle of the road beer. You know, it's like
is.
not super expensive and it doesn't taste terrible, you know, but like,
It's the type of beer that you drink at weddings.
yes,
It's a wedding beer.
exactly.
Okay, well, if you feel that strongly about not drinking Yingling anymore, which I mean, I don't know about you, but that's kind of grounds for me to kind of shy away. But if you feel that strongly about it, for everybody else listening, another great beer that replaces Yingling is definitely Lion's Head,
Lion's Head is so
and
good.
it's cheap, and
It
you get the
is
little
cheap.
puzzles on the cap too,
Yeah.
like. It's so cool. The drunker you get, the worse you get at them. You're like,
Yeah.
B block and envelope. Like, what is this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just had Lion's Head for the first time like a weekend or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I like, you know, I was kind of prepared for anything because you kind of have to be prepared for anything when someone says, "Oh, this beer is cheap," right? So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, because PBR is like piss water.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't know, and then I tasted it. I was like, wow, this has flavor.
Yeah, it does too, and it's not like a dark flavor, but
But it you know, it's
definitely a darker lager.
yeah,
you know, and it
yeah. I
tastes
like my
exactly
beer to
like that.
taste like beer. Like
Exactly.
I'm one of those people. You know?
but not like super hoppy like IPA level.
No, no,
Oh,
no, no,
yeah,
no.
no.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like IPAs, but you know, if I want to drink just like a regular dinner beer or something, I don't want an IPA because I don't want to wash
Exactly.
down like French fries and a burger with like this hoppy. Anyways,
Too
Sure.
overwhelming.
yeah. Anyways, you know what I'm talking about. And
I
all
got
of our
you.
fellow beer drinkers out there.
Yes, yes.
Really recently, I've been switching to vodka Red Bull. I know I'm like a.
Ooh,
I
look at
know.
you.
What did you say they called them in Germany?
Motor oil.
No, it was like sayonara or something like that.
Oh no! You're talking about adios, motherfuckers.
The adios
Yes,
motherfuckers.
motherfuckers.
Those are like, oh god, what is that? Gin, schnapps, Sprite, apple cider or apple juice, and like some other. I think it was like
So
Sambuca.
what is that one sip you're out?
It was like it's either Sambuca or Everclear that they put in there too.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's ridiculously strong. But they used to make those downtown Germany when I was over there, and
Wow.
oh,
The Germans know how to drink. I was in Ireland this summer, and the Irish know how to drink as well. I
The
learned.
Irish are fun. You went to Dublin?
No, I went to, we were about an hour outside of Galway in this
Okay.
tiny little village. And let me tell you, you'd think that even though it's like a town of 200 people, it'd be low key. But there were like more pubs in the town than anything else, and they were always like popping until 2 a.m.
that's
at
sweet.
least, like every night.
I'll tell you, when I was over in Germany, there was this German couple that would always go to. There was a church literally right outside. There was a girl that I was dating at the time there in Germany. They right outside her house was a church, and I mean, I would leave her house in the morning at like 6 in the morning or something just to go to work. And when I walk out, they'd be sitting there at this church at like some bar area, and the bar wasn't even open yet. They brought their own beer.
Oh my god.
So the bar's
That's
not open yet.
dedication.
Yeah, they just sat there and they'd just be like drinking and talking. I go to work, I come back at like 5, 6, 7 in the evening. They're still sitting there drinking beer from the bar, like closing this
crazy.
bar, and they did this like 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like one of my first nights, like in the village that we were staying in, we went to this like restaurant, like right on the water, and just we were like going for some food and a pint. Like that's what we figured, because like we were jet lagged and all of that stuff. And these like middle-aged men show up in this like van. And we were like, who are these people? What are they doing? And they were just coming to like fix something in the bathroom. Like they were hired for a job. And this is probably around like 8 p.m. And I swear to God, and then they went outside and like, got a pint, because that's what you do if you're Irish.
Yeah.
And we were there with them until probably like 3 a.m. And like, because they eventually kicked us out of the indoors, and then we had to only be outdoors. And then they were like, last call, everyone. And they were like, 6 more pints for everyone.
Oh my god.
And they like bought us all drinks. And like at one point they had like power tools, and they drilled holes in the picnic table just like casually. They're like, oh, let's drill some holes, eh? Like, more cheers for you. Like, I mean, they're crazy. This is like a Tuesday night.
That reminds yeah, right?
Yeah, this
it
is
always
just a
happens on like the
Typical
weirdest
Tuesday
nights.
night, and
Yep.
like, yeah, they like drew a penis on like my friend's arm in Sharpie. Like, I mean, these are like 40-year-old men, like just like
that's
chilling
unreal.
after work.
That's the one thing that reminds me of a time when we were at Blarney Stone in downtown Launchstool.
The Blarney Stone.
Well, it wasn't in
Aye, the
Ireland,
Blarney
so
Stone.
it was actually in Germany, right off the base in a town called Launchstool. Anyways, we were at this place called Blarney Stone, and the smoking room had like an old wooden floor. And anyway, somebody dropped their credit card or their ID or something, or a license down one of the cracks. And everybody in the smoking room is sitting there like, yo, this isn't cool. What do we do? Like, how do we get that back? Can't get on base without your ID. So we were on a mission. We started tearing apart that wood floor, ripping nails out and
my
shit. Like,
God.
we had the whole floor up before we finally had somebody like go down there. And we figured out afterwards that like once we ripped the whole floor up, we could have just gone downstairs in the basement and gotten it anyway.
Oh my God.
We're all sitting there for like 3 hours just drunk, ripping up this floor.
See, now you have the story.
Yeah, and it was cool because like the owner was in on it. The owner of the bar was literally like, and his name, Anthony. His name was Anthony. I remember him because he was actually a really good friend of mine. He's like, oh yeah, we'll just go get a hammer and nails and we'll put the floor back together. We're sitting there hammering.
That sounds like Europeans to
Oh,
me.
man.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering all the times I had over there. And
Yeah, so many good memories.
Did you write any songs about being over in Europe?
Oh yeah, I mean,
You didn't choose to perform any of them, did you?
I actually, the song that I just played, I wrote halfway in Ireland and halfway out of Ireland.
Oh, okay.
And like the purpose of the first verse, if you choose to go and listen back to it, is while I was there. And then the second verse is when I got back and I was so like depressed and like wishing I was still there, that like post amazing experience depression where you're like, I was just in like the best place ever and now I'm doing nothing with my life.
Yeah.
But I actually, the purpose of my trip, I was there for a month, and I was doing like basically an artist residency at this small art college, and all I did was write and record music when I was there.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have a ton of material from when I was in Ireland, but what's sort of interesting about it is I was experimenting a lot with my sound, so most of the songs I really can't play like just live, which is like tricky because I want to be able to perform like all the stuff I did there, but there are only a handful of songs that work well with just acoustic guitar because I was like really like going out of my shell a lot. But yeah, I wrote probably, I think, like 22, 23 songs while I was there for 4 weeks.
Yeah, I have like one song that I wrote about my time in Amsterdam actually. So, but that was my 21st birthday, and
Nice.
it's like the song is fun and cool and like, but doesn't even scratch the surface about the kind of shit I got into while I was over there. Oh man, so much fun. Such a bad time, but a good time at the same time. Lots of time.
It was
Anyways,
the best of times. It was the worst of
oh
times.
yeah, but speaking of time, I think it's been too much time since your last song. I'm dying to hear this next one.
All right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and hand it back over to you. And yeah, Chris, get out of
Yeah,
here.
let me get out of
Yeah,
here.
come
real
on.
quick.
Show
There
your
goes-
body again.
Hold on, wait.
Oh,
Start again in a second.
there we go. Yeah,
Now I'll
Chris,
start
our
my body.
camera
There we
guy,
go.
you know, taking care of business over here,
Wow.
cutting in front of cameras and stuff.
You know.
All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and hand this over to you. Take it away.
Cool.
There is an entrance in my head where the water lilies grow. Spaced in between them are 6 million things that you don't know. So why do you keep throwing stones when all they do is sink? Maybe you've got curious pain, but I've got invisible ink. Spiders crawling up the walls, weaving dreams or memories, draping all my thoughts with shawls to disguise them carefully. In the end is an oasis to which you have no key. Maybe if you climb the fence you'll see me, madam, you'll see. Can you hear me, darling? I'm calling from the skies, painting all the pictures that aren't overcast with blur. Sound of the drum in my beating heart kept time. When will the shadows grow? Mountains, I move mountains to make some room for you, and now it sounds like paper trains. I am a little paper doll, two-dimensional and small. The only thing I fear the most is in the pool I'll fall. Come on, Lily, hold me up to spiders. Capture me in silk until I'm wiser. Come on, Lily, hold me up to spiders. Capture me in silk until I'm wiser. And I will open up my gate for all those birds to swoop inside me and take my words. Come on, Lily, hold me up to spiders. Capture me in silk until I'm wiser. Come on, Lily, hold me up to spiders. Capture me in silk until I'm wiser. So why do you keep throwing stones when all they do is sink? Maybe you've got curious pain, but I've got invisible ink.
Thanks.
Nice. What's the name of that song?
Invisible ink.
I was gonna say that it was like something along those lines, but I didn't want to assume. But yeah, great song. That has like a very folk kind of vibe to it, you know?
Yeah, it's sort of one of my more like interesting methods of writing for songs, because I usually when I write I, start sort of like fiddling around with something on the guitar. And then I'll start sort of like singing like gibberish and then, in a few random words, and then it'll start sort of happening from there. But that song, I was like in the car with my mom. It parked at one of like the turnpike, like PA turnpike rest stops. And all of a sudden, just like in my head, I just heard, "There is an entrance in my head where the water lilies grow." And I was like, okay. So I like wrote it down and like hummed the tune to myself. And then I kept going and like wrote like a few lines, and I kept like humming the tune over and over in my head so I wouldn't forget it. And then like as soon as we got out of the car to wherever we were going, I like immediately sat down and just like, tried to like put something to it, and I wrote it all in like a half an hour, just like sitting there and just like wrote the entire thing. And I was like, okay, there's the song. I have no idea what it means yet, but
It's amazing how those things happen, because I know for me personally, like I will sit down and I'll have a song. I write my music before I write lyrics. I've always done that. Don't know why. And I'll like play a song that I really, really like and then put a melody to it and then write lyrics. And for me, it's like I'll just start writing words on like a piece of paper, and half of them suck and half of them don't make sense, and some of them are like really dumb. And then all of a sudden, it's like I'll say something that really flows, that I could imagine one of my favorite artists like putting in their album, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. And then I'll write that, and then I'll write another and another and another, and then just keeps flowing out for like a good 5-6 minutes, and then the whole thing's done.
Yep, yeah, it's crazy. Like,
but getting to that point takes me like weeks,
It can, yeah. It's it's one of those things where like I think every artist goes through dry spells.
Oh yeah.
And like that's so hard, right? Especially like when you're feeling this pressure to create and you feel like you can't. I think like one thing that I'm just like very lucky with is that I am usually able to like create something. I just usually scrap all the stuff that I don't think is very good.
Oh, me too. That bin is
yeah,
full.
Exactly, right? It's sort of like the busy bee graveyard. And like I have like on my phone like a notepad that has just a list of every song I've ever written.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I'm making a set list for a show, I can scroll through and be like, oh, I totally forgot about that song. But it's crazy how many songs I'll never play in public again, because I'm like, I thought it was good then, and I don't think it's that good now. But I wrote it, I still put the time in. But yeah, it's really hard to to like force yourself to make something. It's like either it happens organically or it doesn't really happen at all.
Honestly, I'm the same way. Like I've got at least 4 or 5 song ideas with just this last band alone, like fully written out and everything, that we don't even play anymore, because I'm just like I can't believe I did that. What was I thinking?
Exactly. You have to, but it's funny, like you have to sort of go through all that stuff to get to where you are. I remember like when I was playing, I actually sort of just rediscovered this recently. So I played in a band here called Smoke Ring. For all you out there that know Smoke Ring, I was OG bassist for Smoke Ring.
That was before my time. I only got here like last year, so
yeah, it was. They played for probably like 4 years in the area, but so I was like looking through YouTube or something like that the other day, and I found like recordings or on my phone or something from like our first gig. And I specifically remember that we threw 6 original songs together in 2 practices for our first gig.
Beautiful.
Yeah, which is awesome. And we now like by the time like our second gig came around, I think we only actually recycled 1 of those 6 songs, because we were just like, all right, let's just blast through. And like it was a really good learning experience, but it's like you have to go through all these things to get to where you're supposed to be. It's a journey, but and unfortunately it's like, yeah, you wind up throwing out like a ton of stuff that you've made and put a lot of time into, but like it's ultimately worth it because you get better.
Well, that's exactly what bands go through. I mean, the minute you have a band that gets together, first things first, it's like a relationship. Oh, there goes the heater. Yep, downstairs here in the basement.
We are in a basement.
We are in a basement, so we've got heaters going and AC, and well, not AC right now. It's like what, 40 degrees outside?
Yeah, it's pretty
so
pretty
cold.
Yeah.
Anyways,
The AC is you just go outside.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, seriously.
I'm wondering if I should go upstairs and shut that off. Nah, you know what? I kind of like it. It's static.
Yeah,
We're
no,
just going to
it's
leave
cool.
it. Anyways, I know for myself personally, I have a thing with bands. Whenever bands first get together, what they usually end up doing is it's like a relationship. They have to like get to know each other and figure out like, you know, who they are as people and like can they drink with each other and get smashed
Right.
and like tolerate each other. But then, you know, on the other side of that, you've got the writing, the music, which is, you know, kind of like the sexual aspect of a relationship almost. You kind of
Sure,
have
yeah.
to, you won't
Do we
know.
have chemistry?
Yeah, and it's like you won't know that side of somebody until they actually do it. You can't just
Yeah.
explain it. So, you know, you've got these things that are constantly flowing and mixing and trying to figure out what happens. And one of the big things about musicians, they have to find a sound. They have to find what they like. They have to compromise sometimes, maybe do things they don't want to do or play something they don't want to play in order to achieve that sound. You know, like
Yeah.
I know for me personally, like there's all the time I have like major influences or major bands and stuff, and I'm like, yo, I want to do this because like this is my dream band and they do it, and the guys are like, no, that's dumb.
Yeah.
And we just take that idea and hang it up on the fridge, and I'm like, you know what, you guys are probably right. It's dumb. I'll have to.
It definitely,
sucks, but-
yeah, it does take a lot of compromise, and I think, you know, it's what's interesting as a solo artist, you know, compared to when I was playing in bands is some of the compromise that I do is like, you know, I'll put all this time and energy into a song, and I'm like, yeah, I feel really good about this song. I'm really proud of it. I play it in front of an audience, and there's not the response that I expected.
Yeah.
And then you sort of have to adjust and realize that, like, as much as I write music for myself, I do perform it for other people. And so you do have to sort of make choices. And, you know, for a while I was like, you know, playing the same 6 songs every show because it worked and
Yeah.
people really liked it and responded to it. And I mean, I always try to throw in, like, you know, if I'm playing a set, I always try to throw in a song that's just like something for me. But I also throw in something for other people. You know, like one of my most popular songs for a long time was a song that I wasn't very proud of, but other people just really liked it. And, you know, I think that that's not, you know, some people will be like, oh, that's like selling out, you know, like doing music for other people. But, you know, I think it is part of it that, like, I thrive off of getting positive responses from my audience. You know, I want my listeners to care about the music that I'm writing, and you can't choose what people like and what they don't like.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That is one thing. Like, if it's in demand, it's in demand. Like, it's not up to you. And a lot of musicians get lost in that. They're always like, yo, my music is great. Why do people not like me? And, well, it's because you're not giving the people what they want. When you're
Exactly.
in an industry like the entertainment business, you have to almost sell your soul, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah, you
if you
do.
don't... If you don't give the people what they want, they're not gonna buy. They're not gonna
Right, it's
listen.
consumer, right?
Yeah.
You know?
You have to be able to adjust.
Yeah,
That's the
and
big thing.
there's so many artists out there that kind of get the diva mentality. Like, you know, they think that what they do is so great. And yeah, maybe a few people like it. But if you ever want to progress as, you know, not progress, but if you ever want to perfect your craft, you know, you really have to take that into account. What are other people looking at? What do other people want in...
Exactly, right.
So-
Yeah, I think it's strategy, and it's also, right, it's you know, thinking about, like, the fact that, you know, first of all, like, the music scene is constantly changing.
Oh, yeah.
What people want is constantly changing. New things are being made, and, like, one thing, you know, that I've learned is, you know, you know, they say, like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, you know, right? So it's like you have to allow yourself to change as the scene is changing. You know, I think that's a big thing. Like, have started toying with the idea of when I'm playing live shows, playing with an electric guitar instead of an acoustic guitar, because I've noticed that single artists who play electric get more shows than people that say they have an acoustic guitar,
Are
because
you
no
talking,
one
like-
wants to hear that anymore.
Are you talking like with like a bunch of loop stations and stuff like that?
Yeah,
too?
stuff like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that people want nowadays. And, you know, I'm wondering, like, you know, as a solo artist, do I sort of go along with what is popular right now, or do I sort of, you know, stay stubborn or stay true to what I've been doing? And, you know, it can go either way, but it is something that you have to consider. Like, I'd be stupid not to pay attention to the direction that solo artists are going in.
Yeah. Well, if you're interested, I do have a TC Electronics Ditto Looper pedal sitting over there that I would sell you. So.
Cool. I have like a loop pedal. It's like the dual from Boss, whatever it is, like 2 pedals.
Oh yeah. Well, they have one loop. Is it the Loop Station or
Loop
is it like
Station,
the RC? So I'm trying to remember the names. There's like the
it's
RD and the RC.
I think it's
There's the RC3 and the RC7, I think.
it's RC3. It's like a little box and it's got 2 pedals and like.
Oh, okay, so I know which one.
Yeah. And like so what I've like played around with it a lot, but I just like still cannot figure out how to get it to work. Like it's just like it's a learning curve.
Yeah.
And I also, I'd have to change the way that I write my music, and that's a big thing for me, which is that, like I said, one of the beautiful things about being a solo artist is I can stop in the middle of the song and change the pace and whatever. And if you're looping, you can't do that.
Yeah, it's a whole third dimension that you really kind of have to.
Yeah,
work
so
around.
Exactly. So but I think it's definitely one of those things that like it's worth considering always what is happening in the scene, what people want to listen to, and not necessarily only giving people what they want to listen to, because I think the other part of creativity is making new stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like also I want to get gigs and I want to get paid for them.
Yeah, you and me both.
So
Let me tell you.
that's why it's a business, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing about making money as a band would be through merch and album sales. I think are like the only things really that you can do nowadays. Like being paid for gigs never happens anymore.
Yeah,
It's
I mean, for me,
ridiculous.
like in Philly, I can pretty much always guarantee to get something from a show, but like I'm excited if I get $20 because I'm like,
Yeah.
sweet, that pays for food and the train ride.
Yep.
So it's really I'm breaking even.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much like album sales and merch are definitely what get people through, and that's tough because that's
You still have to invest into
right,
that, you
and
know?
that's stuff outside of the actual music, which I think can be really hard because artists that have made it big, they do make their money from playing shows,
Yeah.
and that's really cool because it's like, yeah, I'm getting direct reward from the music that I've made. But like, right, even just like creating an album is so much work, it's so much effort. And like with merch, it's like you have to take time outside of all of the other things you're doing just to like play gigs and like be a musician and all of that, to like create the merchandise, pay for it, put it online,
Pay
figure
your
out how to
graphic
sell
designer,
it.
find
Right.
outsourcing. Yeah.
Right, and then the next thing you know, it's like you aren't even sure when you're going to break even for something like that. So,
Yeah.
it's a huge investment, even though
Well,
it does pay off.
Well, I think the heater has kicked off.
Cool.
I think I'm not entirely
It does
sure.
sound quieter.
Yeah, it does.
Quieter.
Because I usually turn that off before these sessions, but I guess I forgot. So I'm gonna have to make a little checklist for us. Like, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? So it always seems like I forget something. So it happens when you coordinate, engineer, host a bunch of all the stuff in
the price
all in
you
one.
pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I'm gonna kick Chris off the couch here so we can go ahead and get this next song going.
Sweet.
Nope, Chris has to do his thing. There we go. All right, cool. So,
There it is.
all right, what is going on with this next song? What's it called? I'll just ask what it's called and then I'll listen to it and we'll talk about it afterwards.
So the song is called Deer Eat Birds.
Deer eat birds.
Yes.
Wait, like deer the animal or
Deer the animal.
Oh, wow,
DEER. Eat birds, which is a true fact for the
You
record.
have my full and wait, seriously?
Yeah, seriously. This is an educational song, and yeah, deer. It's not like they're like chowing down on birds every day, but like they will eat birds.
All right, so this song needs to end up on the Discovery Channel.
Yes,
basically what
this
we're
is
saying.
yeah. That's actually my goal. So Discovery Channel, if you're out there listening, I want this to be the theme song for,
Planet Earth.
Planet Earth, exactly, right here.
All right,
so.
go ahead and take it away.
All right, here we go. What more could she give? She was standing bare feet under Spark Street lights with nothing on but an old jean jacket and a clogged up wooden pipe.
didn't beg, no complaints, always seemed to ride along in her little hamster ball. She was waiting for her head to break her fall. Did you know that deer eat birds? I did not, but now it makes some sense. So tell me, can't you cry? Don't just draw little squares and rub off your hairs. Be a man and get up 'cause you can. The ground don't make this shit make any sense. Ah, 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 ah. Always liked the ground. Always liked the ground. Always liked the ground. Always liked the ground. Did you know that deer eat birds? I did not, but now it makes some sense. And did you know I was here first? Never left, probably won't.
Wow. Oh god, I still can't get over that. Deer actually do eat birds. I
Yeah.
was doing a Google search here quick and I just saw
They
it.
do, and actually butterflies eat dogs. That's the other
Wait,
disturbing fact I have for you.
what?
Yeah. And next time on the Nature Channel.
Okay, so I do have one suggestion for that song.
Okay, I'm ready.
So when you go into that chorus, the chorus, right? I think. Anyways, when you're like, you go into the chorus, you're like, did you know that or
Deer eat birds.
deer eat birds?
I love
Yeah.
that part.
You know, you gotta be like, did you know that deer eat birds for lunch? And then
Okay.
go into it. Wait. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna turn your reverb back on. Go for it.
Did you know that deer eat birds for lunch?
Yes.
Love it.
that has to happen. To be completely honest, you should make that change.
That's
And every
true.
time
Yeah,
people,
honestly, I might take you up on that.
because whenever people listen to it, they're gonna be like, "Do you eat birds?" And then you say for lunch, and they're gonna lose their shit.
Like, is
Oh.
it not a proper dinner serving? Like what?
Actually, I wonder how much protein is in a serving of bird, and what kind of birds do they eat? Like, is it robins, ravens, owls?
It probably depends on the deer, or depends on the bird.
True.
Although, actually, I would hope that they wouldn't eat a crow because I've heard, or I think I watched some like nature documentary about crows, and it turns out they're actually super vengeful and have really good facial memory.
Well,
so
they're
like,
extremely smart too. They're, like
they're
one of the
really
smartest
smart.
animals on the planet.
yeah.
Really?
So like, if like you're a crow and like you're like crow bro gets like hurt by a human. The crows will remember the face of the human and the location that it happened, and they will like come back and hunt you down. Like they'll bring the whole family, the whole crow family.
Whole squad's gonna
Yeah.
roll up and shit on your car.
Yeah, I think this something really terrible must have happened to a crow at like the house that I grew up in because for a long time, it hasn't happened recently, but like we would just have, I swear to God, hundreds of crows just like chilling in our lawn, on our roof, in the trees, and they wouldn't do anything, they'd just be there.
Dude,
And
that's the
just
kind of stuff
watching
that
you.
keeps
Yeah.
you up at night.
It freaked my mom out so much that like she like was scared to like walk out of the house sometimes because the crows were just there.
Yo, it is mischief night. Tomorrow's Halloween. We're talking about
dun,
crows and shit. I'm freaked
Oh, it's
out.
Devil's Night, dude.
Yes,
yeah.
it is. That's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
like, why are we talking about this? Oh God. Okay, I'm gonna take some time here to kind of shake out all my fears and whatnot.
No, that kind of stuff like scares me though.
You
Like,
have to go back to the subject.
No.
Oh my
I'm not.
God.
I'm okay. I'm taking beyond crows. All right.
All right. Oh,
Just how,
okay,
like-
so now it's actually like to demons and stuff. So I'm gonna be
No.
trying to sleep tonight. All right.
It's more animal stuff. Like, because we got here from the deer. Some animals are like so smart, and we think that all animals are so stupid. Like dolphins,
Yeah,
dude.
because we're arrogant as fuck.
Yeah, man, it's fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
well, human beings have this thing where when you're at the top of the food chain, you automatically underestimate everything below you just
Yeah.
because we have opposable thumbs. But I guess there are certain questions that I have out there, like to what extent do other animals, like especially dogs, like do dogs have feelings? Do they have logic?
Oh,
and,
there's no way that they don't have.
Do they have like?
have to, right?
Do they have a certain level of logic and reason? Like those are big questions, and like.
And
I
it's
don't
one of
know.
those things that's like, we can't possibly understand. And I'm one of those people that like, it's sort of my like opinion on ghosts and whether they exist, sticking with the Halloween theme here, right?
Yeah.
That it's like, I mean, I've had experiences with ghosts, but also in general, it's like, since I can't 100% know for sure, it's way more interesting to think that they definitely exist.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's like
I
that for
think they
everything.
do. I personally believe in that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know about
Oh,
anybody
for
else,
sure.
but
Yeah, so it's like I think it's like always more interesting as a person to like say yes than say no, right? So it's like, yeah, like why not dogs have feelings, right? Why not? Like
Yeah,
if we don't
at
know,
least to some degree,
right?
you know?
Exactly. Like
I mean,
and-
obviously not to the level of a human being. Like they can't sit there and figure out quantum physics or come up with formulations or formula.
But it's also like it's not out of the question to say that like they can experience emotions that maybe we can't, right?
Yes, dude, that's the stuff that I think about, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
Like-
right. Because it's like
Chris is so woke right now.
Exactly. So like dolphins are so much
they have
smarter than us.
echolocation, dude.
They have all these types of things that, and in their consciousness, they just have this way of perceiving things that we can't even dream of. Like
Right.
dogs can see in different colors that we can. I forget what animal it is. It's like some sort of shrimp, and it can see over 2,000 colors that we can't see,
Holy
or
shit.
something crazy like that, because they can see colors throughout the entire length spectrum, whatever it is.
That's crazy,
But-
right? And it's like it's so important, I think, like to humble yourself. It is like to realize that like we have limitations that like just as every being has limitations. So it's like we can't do everything, and we shouldn't measure other creatures up to us. Like we are all different for a reason. Like that's why there are different species, and so it's like. But I mean, obviously, that's not how most people think. But
Yeah.
let's
Oh,
all get
yeah.
woke.
I know, right? All
Let's
you
get woke
scientists,
about animals and shit.
all you anthropologists out there living in 2017. Meanwhile, we're here at the basement in like 37 doing our shit right now. Hell yeah.
Contemplating a lot of some deep shit right now.
I'm not even high. Like
No.
No, all I'm saying is my cat definitely knows when she's being an asshole.
Oh yeah. Cats do everything on purpose.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can be sure of out of this conversation.
I'm not gonna lie.
That'll be my next song.
Cats
Cats
are
know when they're being an
assholes.
asshole.
I met your cat and it was not a pleasant experience.
What?
Although your cat is awesome, it was just like I don't know, when I went to pick her up and she like bit me and I was just like,
Wait,
oh,
she bit
okay.
you?
Yeah.
Why did you tell me?
Well, I didn't think it was a big deal,
I mean,
it's all right. I
don't
still
want her
like
biting people.
like your cat. It was just like
She probably just wasn't in the mood,
oh,
Probably
yeah.
not.
That's,
Yeah, this cat's like, why are you touching me? I did not give consent.
did she start to meow in her like screaming
Yes,
voice?
yes.
Yeah, dude.
That cat has no volume control. It is literally on 11 all the time.
That's awesome.
I love your cat though. It's fine.
Thanks, man.
I love all cats.
Thanks.
I don't
dude.
discriminate.
Appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Talking about deer eating
Yeah,
birds and
we
everything.
got way off track.
We really did. We went way off the rails on that. But
Or maybe we went exactly where we were supposed to go.
I would like to think that is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Busy Bee, it has been great having you here in studio. And I'll tell you, your music is really cool. I am interested to know, I'm going to ask this question, my last question for tonight. Your albums,
Yes.
how many are there? Where can we find them? And should we expect future ones?
Sure. Okay. So you can find one of my albums pretty much anywhere you look. It's on Spotify and iTunes and Google Play, I think, and Bandcamp. And it's really easy to find because it's called Every Time My Nipples Get Hard, I Die Inside.
I remember you saying that before. Yep.
Yeah, so like there's really only one of those. But I have a lot of stuff, and it's not like official recordings or anything like that. All the stuff that I wrote in Ireland is on Bandcamp. So if you go to busy-b.bandcamp.com, you'll find pretty much everything I've written since like senior year of high school.
Nice.
I try to post stuff on there a lot. Yeah, so and I also I've got an Instagram, I have social media, and I post sometimes like 30-second songs. That's my new thing recently. But
Nice.
yeah, as far as albums in the future, my goal is to compile like some of the best pieces that I wrote from my trip in Ireland and record them professionally and release that because I did so much work while I was there. So, maybe sometime by the end of the year, by the end of not like by the end of 2017, but by the summertime, I might have another release coming out if I can scrape together the change.
Totally. Well, hey, if you ever need a studio to go to, definitely hit me up because I can definitely help with that. I love being able to do that kind of stuff.
All of these links down there in the description.
Yeah, down in the description,
look in
you
the
will be able to
description.
find all of this information, all of the music
and
that you
also
have.
some research on deer eating birds.
Yeah,
also will
do
be
your
there.
research. Stay woke, fam. It's important, but definitely, Busy Bee, thank you so much for coming in the
Thank you.
studio. It's been difficult trying to get you in here, but we finally
I know,
did it.
we made it happen.
We made it happen. Yeah, thank you so much. Great music. We're excited to have you back here in State College, and I really look forward to hearing some of your music and your future musical exploits, especially with bands and stuff. Hopefully you get into like a live band situation.
Yeah, that'd be
really
dope.
cool.
Word, all
Awesome.
right. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. And with that, until next time.